In the spirit of sharing and gift giving, my friends Belle and Adam have shared a story involving dependopotamuses, mustangs, and a woman with sticky fingers. Our story takes place in the summer of 2006. Belle and Adam were living in a cul-de-sac of about 10 houses, mainly inhabited by officers and their families. As it was the season of grilling, BBQs, and backyard shenanigans, the entire neighborhood decided to host a block party. It was a potluck and buyout, the rule being bring enough for everyone. The host of the block party was a Mustang named Patterson. He's from the Carolinas, and one of their specialties is the whole hog roast. He managed to get 3 whole hogs and roasted them on a property of a friend, where he had the space to do so, basting the meat with his own special BBK sauce. The recipe, which, according to Belle, was probably the most secure secret in the country. Unfortunately, Patterson's mother, Goldilocks, was staying with him and his family for a week. She proceeded to wear out her welcome on the first day, using her son's rank to get whatever she wanted. She was a grade A dependopotamus, entitled nasty, rude, abusive to her family, and just about as pleasant as a case of Montezuma's Revenge. No matter how much Patterson explained to her that it could damage his career, Goldilocks never seemed to listen. The night before the party, Patterson told his mother that she was one offense away from being sent away. So it's the day of the party, and everyone is lounging around on deck in camping chairs, having drinks, talking, and waiting for the meat to finish heating up. As everyone knew everyone and were right there, everyone's doors were unlocked. Adam went into his and Belle's house to grab some more bottles of soda from the fridge. He just expected to grab the sodas and leave. Just as he's about to get the soda, the landline in the study rings. He goes to answer it and is in the study for maybe 15 minutes. He hears the front door open and close. A few minutes later, the front door opens and closes again. He thinks it's Belle and doesn't think much of it. That's until he hangs up and goes back to the fridge. And something was missing. He and Belle had made some cheesecake to bring to the party, keeping it in a sealed container. And that was missing. He thought that was odd, but grabbed the soda bottles and headed out. After loading one of the coolers with the bottles, he sought out Belle and asked her if she had gotten the cheesecake out of the fridge. Confused, Belle said, "No, I haven't." Why? Because someone took out the cheesecake. Just then, one of their neighbors said, "Now that you mention it, the Tupperware container of ambrosia salad I made is also missing." Word spread faster than a wildfire, and it eventually came out that everyone's house was missing something, either from the fridge or the pantry. Patterson looked around, his eyes stern. Belle asked him what was wrong. He just said, "Something I should have done a long time ago," and headed into his house. 20 minutes later, a taxi pulls into the cul-de-sac, stopping right in front of Patterson's house, which is at the end of the block. Everyone is confused when all of a sudden they hear shouting from inside the house. And not just any kind of shouting. It's drill sergeant shouting. Goldilocks comes running out of the house, carrying her bags and looking like she had seen a ghost. Patterson is on her heels, a framed photograph in his hand. He was yelling at her, "You're never coming back here again, do you hear me? If I so much as smell one of your farts around us, you will be out of the state faster than you can sneeze." Goldilocks got into the taxi, and they took off. Everyone watched as Patterson became calm and looked at everyone. Folks, I want to apologize for my mother's behavior. As of right now, she's no longer part of my family. Now let's party like it's going out of style. A couple of days later, Belle decided to ask Patterson what happened. He revealed that Goldilocks had decided to steal food from all of the houses on the block. When he overheard the comments about the missing food, he found her throwing everything into several trash bags. It's then he called the taxi to take her to her sister's house. She lived in the same city, and confronted her. Apparently, Goldilocks decided to complain about how the food wasn't good enough. He then told her she had 20 minutes to pack up and get out of his life forever, or he was calling the police for theft. Goldilocks tried to gaslight him by saying, "You wouldn't leave your old mother out high and dry now, would you?" At this, Patterson had unleashed his inner drill sergeant and shut that down. He stood there, watching her pack and following her out to make sure she couldn't try anything dumb. As she was walking towards the door, she passed a framed photograph. The photograph in question was him with his grandfather, a veteran, who died shortly after it was taken. It's the only photograph of the two men in uniform. Goldilocks decided to take it. At that, Patterson had enough, snapped the photograph out of her hand, and started to chew out that everyone at the party heard. He was good to his word and had nothing to do with Goldilocks ever again. All right, check this out. So I've been grinding at this little shawarma joint of mine for about a year now. Got my secret sauce, the perfect spice blend, and customers who keep coming back for more. It's a small spot, but it's mine and I'm proud of it. Last week, though, I had this whole thing go down that I got to spill. So there I am, behind the counter, flipping shawarmas like a boss. Business is decent, and I'm feeling good. Then, in walks this chick. Total Karen vibes from the get-go. You know the type. Big sunglasses, demanding attitude, the whole package. She struts up to the counter and orders like she owns the place. Half the menu, I kid you not. I'm thinking, okay, she's hungry, no biggie. But then she starts filming herself eating. Like, who does that? I'm just watching, shaking my head, wondering if this is some new trend. The waitress, bless her soul, takes the bill over after Karen's done inhaling my shawarmas. That's when things go sideways. Karen looks at the bill like it's written in hieroglyphs or something. She scoffs, looks up, and drops the bomb. I'm a food blogger with 10K followers on Instagram. I shouldn't have to pay for this. I'm overhearing this, right? Can't believe my ears. I'm like, excuse me, what did you just say? She repeats it, all snooty and entitled. Now, I'm no social media wizard, but I do know that followers don't pay my bills. So I stroll over, trying to keep my cool. Karen demands to see the manager. Guess who that is? Yours truly. I approach, and she's on about how she won't pay because of her influence. I'm thinking, lady, influence ain't currency here. I tell her straight up, you ate it, you pay for it. She goes ballistic, threatens to blast my little joint on Instagram and shut me down. I'm not having it. I tell her, pay up or I'm calling the cops. Now, Karen doesn't like being told no. She digs into her bag, throws the money on the counter and storms out. Classy, right? But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, it gets better. I decide to take matters into my own hands. I post the whole debacle on this Facebook group called Power of Social Media. Figured I'd let the internet do its thing. And man, did it deliver. People from all walks of life rallied behind me. Comments, shares, the whole shebang. Kern's Instagram got bombarded. Folks were calling her out, unfollowing like there's no tomorrow. It was a digital riot, and I was here for it. A week later, I check in on the aftermath. Karen went from 10K followers to half that. Her comment section was a war zone. People roasting her left and right. Turns out the internet doesn't take kindly to entitled folks trying to arm the little guy. I'm just sitting back, reading these comments and sipping my coffee. Karma's a digital witch, ain't it? And my shawarma joint? Well, we're still standing, still flipping those wraps, and now with a bit of internet cred to boot. Lesson learned, Karen. You mess with the shawarma, you get the karma. So, I'm a 21-year-old German dude, so please excuse my English, who visited the USA a few months ago for a road trip. When me and my best friend, reached Nevada, we wanted to go to Las Vegas, so we did. As we arrived, we went to the casinos. Just as a background info, I'm about 6 foot and 202 pounds with wide shoulders, and I decided to wear black shoes, black jeans, and a black nice shirt, even in 37 degrees, while my friend looked like a typical tourist. So as we walked through the countless casinos, my friend told me that he needed to go to the toilet, so I waited for him. I was standing next to a pillar and let my eyes look over this breathtaking view of endless blinking lights in all colors. Then, suddenly I felt a tap, tap, tap on my shoulder from behind. And there was this lady, and she already had that look of fury on her face. So I asked her, slightly irritated, "Yeah, can I help you?" But she already started yelling, "Finally, you security guards can't keep hiding." And I was just like, "Excuse me, I'm a tourist. I'm not from the security." In that moment, she tried to grab my wrist and was trying to pull me with her while she was still yelling some words I won't say here. I was scared and didn't know what to do except keep trying to tell her that I'm a tourist. I even started talking German to proof it, but that did not bother her at all. Luckily, my best friend saw me seconds before I was pulled behind a corner and was searching for help. At this point, the lady just cursed at me and called me dumb and unprofessional. I'm a big guy, but never been in a situation any like that. About a minute later, my friend came with a real security guard. The guard was big. I mean, really big like you would see in cartoons. So he pulled me beside, away from that lady, and whispered to me, "You can go, I'll handle that." Until today, I still don't know if he was thinking that I worked there or not, but at least he freed me from her. In the end, the guard spoke loudly that I will get my punishment later before vanishing with the lady, who was still yelling in the crowd of people. So did my friend and I, and we went fast to another location. After I explained the story to him, he couldn't resist laughing in disbelief. I guess he laughed because he knew how less this job would fit me. I won't say Americans are crazy, but there are more crazy people than at home. Many years ago, I was living in a beautiful, sunny southern state. I had a cute little house that was completely fenced in. 5 fence in front, 8 fence on the sides, and a 10 chain link fence in the back. I'm fortunate enough to work from home. My office was my patio unless it was raining. My dog, Sari, German Shepherd Rottweiler mix, kept me company. At a year old, she was a big girl at 120 pounds. She was generally very sweet and kind but protective. She was well trained but also had a knack for disappearing to play with her animal friends. So I kept her on a chain too if we were outside. High school kids in the area had the tendency to use the alleyway behind my house to get to and from school. Most would stop and say hi to Sari and give her attention. She loved it. I honestly didn't mind. One day, I noticed that any time Sari was alone outside, some kids would rattle the back fence, throw things at it, then scream and yell at Sari. The kids would run off before I could see who they were. In case things got worse, I bought some security cameras and brought Sari with me anytime I went inside when the kids would be around. One day, I had to grab some work in the house and left Sari outside, just for a moment. From inside, I heard the fence rattle and then Sari yelp in pain. I rushed outside just in time to see a kid try to throw a rock at Sari, along with some other kids. I was pissed. As I rushed over to Sari, I calmly asked them, "Did it ever occur to you to wonder why I keep my dog chained in a fenced yard?" Then I unhooked her. Sari ran at my back fence and climbed over it. The kids started running down the alley with Sari right behind them, barking away. I let her go about half block, then whistled for her. She came trotting back, all happy as can be. I checked her over and gave her a treat. She was fine. A couple of hours later, one of the kids came back with his mother, EP. EP screaming, "You witch, you had your dog attack my son. He was only having a fun time. He's just a boy." The kid was at least 16-year-old. "You scared him. It was just a joke. You had no right to do that. I'm calling the police and having that dog shot. Blah, blah, blah." I literally couldn't get a word in. Then she starts threatening me, so I called the police. The operator could hear her plain as day even though EP was at least 40 feet from me. The police showed up in about 5 minutes. 2 cars. I guess they were in the area. 4 officers, all very nice guys. 2 officers come talk to me. The other 2 talked to EP and her son. EP never stopped screaming and cussing. I explained what happened and showed the video to the officers. Show all of Sari's vet and training paperwork. I filed a report, asked to press charges. The officers are petting Sari all the while because she's demanding attention from her new friends. She has her happy face on. Yes, Sari actually smiles. The 3 of us and Sari, on a leash, go outside towards the other group. We're about 10 feet from them when Sari suddenly cuts in front of me to stop me and starts growling. The skin around her face went tight, making it look like a hair-covered skull. The hair on her back raises up. Sari is very scary when she's like that. EP, screaming. C, that witch raised that dog to attack black people. Racist witch. That dog needs to be put down. The 2 officers that were with me were African American. Though, no, that part always annoys me, so I included it. I called back one of the officers that I'd been talking to. He didn't want to come too close as Sari is showing large teeth, so I moved back towards my house. As quietly as I could, I told the officer that either EP or kid were carrying a gun. That's why Sari started getting protective. It had happened several times before. I guess to be on the side of caution, or to shut me up. He decided to search the EP and kid. EP had an unregistered gun. Kid had a 6 switchblade not legal in that state. So, in addition to a charge of animal cruelty, they got nailed for carrying a concealed weapon, being in possession of a firearm while on probation, resisting arrest, and a couple of other charges. BP never stopped screaming the entire time this happened and while being driven away. I don't think that's how EP or Kid expected to end the day, but I enjoyed it. Even better, I never saw her or her kid again. The kids stopped harassing Sari.